So I'm on my way to Nona Garson's place, the Ridge at Loxahatchee here in South Florida. It's a little bit north of Wellington, right? And I am in traffic, so I'm gonna be running late. So I bet my trainer, January, she's sitting there like, blah, 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 like running, right? Worried, but it's not to show today. It's a schooling show, right? So I don't really have a whole lot to, it's a schooling at Nona's showgrounds on her property here. And I've shown there before. When I think about last year when I showed at Nona's place, like, I was so proud of myself. I think I even got a blue ribbon last time, or maybe a second place. I don't know. I was happy, right? I look at that right now, and there's been so much development in myself as a rider, as an adult amateur. And it's like as my trainer and Herbie and I have been entering in this conversation about like how to help me achieve my dream of like getting into Wellington International, right? Like, I really want to go. When I went to my first Grand Prix and I was walking around out in the big lights, I remembered when I started to barrel race, and more than anything, I wanted to compete in the national finals rodeo, like at the big stage. Like, I don't even have to win. I just wanted to know that I could learn something and master something and be that talented. But that door was never going to be open to me. It'll probably never be open. Barrel racing probably has to move on from the national finals rodeo, right? And develop its own specific discipline. Barrel racing outside of rodeo with world championships. That's probably what has to happen. That's probably the message I should be sharing, right? But it was that night, right? Like, when I walked it through the Grand Prix arena, I was like, I want to show in here. I made that declaration. And I think a lot of times, like, I don't know, like, I always make declarations. The thing is like, usually if I make a declaration, and especially if it's horse focused, I get a little too, like, monotropic, right? Tunnel vision. It just all comes out, right? But then, it doesn't just all come out. Horses spoke to me from a very young age. And from a very traumatic place. I'm not always comfortable talking about the level of trauma that I have experienced in my life. But our family, my family of origin, they're a bit rough around the edges. Not all of them, but my parents, they weren't as refined as, like, and didn't really understand, I think, the way the world works. And they probably did not know how to raise a gay guy, right? Like, clearly. And so, the only place I ever found happiness and sanity and peacefulness was when I was with my horses. And I got my first horse when I was in 8th grade. We had a bunch of horses in our family. We had Fonzie, a little pony, a little sorrel pony. We had Dreamboat. She was a pony of America. She was fast. She was a champion little Gymkhana horse. We had Brutus, a quarter horse Clydesdale. That was my actual first horse. Like, we had all the family horses, right? But my dad showed up because somebody up on the road, up on top of the mountain at Sunol Peak, had this horse named Brutus, a quarter horse Clydesdales. My dad tells me he swears it was 18 hands. And Brutus he could jump through fences, which he did all the time. And my dad was always having to, like, replace the rails, right? And he hated that. My dad didn't teach me how to have conversations with animals. And I think I carried that with me for a long time. I think as a parent, as a human. There was a lot of explosiveness inside of me, a lot of fear. I mean, all of these things inside us, they develop, right, when we are young. Our body learns things, right? And it tags the things that we learn, and my body tags some pretty bad things. And I learned a lot of things that weren't very healthy from my family of origin. Things that I still wrestle with today. But when I'm with Herbie, I begin a conversation. A conversation like the conversation I've been having with my husband for the last it'll be 25 years in August. Bill and I are life partners, which to me, partners like Bill and I we're married, right? But we've been partners, life partners, committed to each other for a really long time. And the conversations I have with Herbie, the conversations I have with my clients, the conversations that I have with myself, a lot of them are rooted in the calmness and the demeanor of my husband. When we first got together and my parenting, I'm a trained therapist, right? I have a degree in marriage and family studies from Weber State and a degree in psychology, both bachelor's, a master's in clinical social work. I'm a trained therapist, but I'm also human. When people start thinking that a trained therapist should have as much to do as everybody else, I'm like, no, we have the same problems. But hopefully we have some insight into our problems, right? And the thing about being on the spectrum and being neurodivergent, whether it's autism or ADHD, is that there are some superpowers that you can use to get through your trauma. But you actually have to focus it. You actually have to train it, right? And that's really what I've been doing since this last year. When I started riding with January 2 years ago, it was 2 years last November, right? And Herbie and I, it'll be 2 years in March that we've been training with January 3 days a week. I didn't know that it was going to take this long. And I didn't know what I was expecting. I knew as a barrel racer that I had a really good seat. And I thought I could ride. But I was all seat and hands. And oftentimes when I watch videos of barrel racers or Western riders, not Rainers and stuff, I watch their YouTube videos and their social media stuff, and it seems often the thing that I didn't understand was the thing that they don't teach, which is the thing that my trainer and the equestrians teach, was that everything starts with your legs. And, they can tell you that, everything starts with your legs. But until you start feeling the way the horse comes alive when you use your legs and all of your aids in unison based on the way the horse is moving underneath you. I don't often see that in a lot of barrel racing training videos, and I do in Kendra Dixon's. And how to get the horse to move off their back end. Equestrians, if you talk to any of us, the thing that seems to be the most mysterious and the thing that they focus on the most is getting the horse to move off the back end. And what your body needs to do in order to get that. And you hear it over and over and over again, 3 days a week. I swear, for the longest time, I didn't get it. But I get it now. And I get it because it took repetition. It took having faith in the things that my trainer was telling me, right? She tells you to hold your hands there and you think that it's not working. It's probably working. You just haven't gotten rewarded with the dopamine because you got it in the right place at the right time with your body, your legs, your seat bones, your posture. It's all of those spaces have to tag and leak dopamine type chemicals and not cortisol. when you're learning and you're frustrating, your body just leaks cortisol. Like when I'm leaking cortisol, I can't do shit. I just can't, right? And I watch couples fight, right? Like Couples Fight Club, Will, nightly, 2 to 7. I watch them fight, and they seem a lot unregulated, really, so. Well, that's my rant. I'm like driving to Wellington, to Loxahatchee, and I just keep going on and on and on. I don't even know if any of this is usable, right? But it's killing time. Like, if you actually understood what I really do when I'm driving, I'm singing the whole time, right? I'm singing and I'm dancing. I'm making a spectacle of myself. People pull up in cars next to me. They're like, I want more of what you got. I hear that a lot, or, yeah, because I just totally let myself go. Like I'm some big famous entertainer nailing song after song. Because I think I've memorized like 200 or 300, 400 songs, like complete lip syncs. Obsessive. But yeah, that's that monotropism thing, right? Like, oh, there's so many things I obsess about. Like, I obsessed about learning how to content create, learning how to film, edit. And my friends look at me and they think I'm good and like, oh, you're natural. I was like, no, I worked at it a lot. And I bought a lot of cameras. Like I have a drone. I'm not very good at that yet. I have a DJI. Look at that bucket I just drove past. I have a DJI, what is it called? Well, I don't even know where I am. But I had 30 minutes before I needed to pay attention. And the timer here says 11. So getting out of people. I'm like driving really fast too. Trying to make up for my lost time. Ah, yes. There's a lot of life to live. You know, when I watch couples fight, I guess I call it fight, but it's when I watch couples navigate their disagreements. Well, we all know what it is, right? Like, I'm always looking for like a few. You know that thing that we do as equestrians? The way we approach our horse and say good morning, and we begin that conversation. And it's always about settling our own central nervous system, making sure that the prey animal that's next to us, in front of us, behind us, you know, while we're walking around, like making sure that that prey animal is not, speaking of animals, it looks like a possum, then making sure that that our horse, a prey animal, that our emotions, our sudden movements, are constrained, right? And I always do exactly the same thing, right? I move around Herbie with consistency. I know Herbie likes to nibble, so I don't walk past his mouth without gently putting my hand up and walking past. Like, I know who he is. And so I don't look for he and I to have a fight about anything. I look for he and I to engage with each other. 2 reasons. One, like Herbie doesn't like to leave the barn very well by himself. And I'm 62. And, you know, maybe in my 40s when like my horse Cat wouldn't want to go, I just get into him and make him go, right? Unnecessary pressure probably, to be honest. And it's kind of dangerous to do that. Not just for the rider, but like when Herbie starts spinning around, and you know, like we live in an urban area, so even though it's rural, it's surrounded by 10 million people. Like when I say rural, it's a couple of streets that have horses next to a park. That's right. You know, there's not a lot of options down here when you're not in Wellington, and Wellington's so bougie and expensive, right? And it's too far from my house. I can't drive an hour a day. So this is a nice stable. the barn community. Oh my God. I love them all. Like, everybody, all of us are different. You're gonna meet a lot of them. Well, the ones who want to be on camera, I don't care, right? Like, and we all come from all walks of life, and we all have different political and religious, like, beliefs. But we all just set that aside for the horse, right? It's important. I've always thought about elections and the process of voting and the animosity between